What's up, everyone, and welcome to the new dungeon of 6.2, the Fell Court. I'll be your dungeon host, Sly, and today we're going to go through each boss and all of their mechanics to make sure you clear this dungeon a little bit quicker. Now, upon reaching the first boss of the dungeon, you're going to notice it's basically an ad fight, which is something unique that we haven't really seen a ton of before in the game, where you're mostly just fighting ads the entire time. And they have various mechanics that come along with them, and I'll show you what to pay attention to here. So first off, on the big pole, just run in. You're going to be AoEing these down a lot. There's just a lot of ads right here at the start. And then every so often, usually the boss will reappear, or the little heads here themselves will do mechanics. Now, just because you kill them all doesn't mean the end. They're actually going to reappear multiple times. Now, if you'll notice here, the heads are starting to do a beam attack. Now, these will go all the way across the room, so you're going to want to find that safe spot whenever it appears. Now, upon using that AoE mechanic, they will then become active. So if you're the tank, you're going to need to want to pick all those up. See, my healer got wailed on a little bit there, so just be sure to be quick on those. And lots of targets here, so AoE galore. Have fun, lay out all the fun abilities, bring your dancer friends, you know, that good stuff. Now that we're getting all these down a little bit lower, the next mechanic will probably start to happen soon here. And there we go, got them all down here. So here is our next mechanic. We're going to get a few of these ads, and you'll see that some of these skulls are still hitting beams along the sides of the room there. So again, find that open space. These ones are just a little bit more spread out, leaving you with more safe zones. And again, once those are active and they do that ability, they will start hitting your party. So tanks, be sure pick all these up, snag them. They don't do a ton of damage to your group, but they definitely can be annoying and get out of control. So definitely keep them under control. Bombing them with some more AoE right here. And as we get them lower, we will then see, of course, another mechanic. Last few right here. And here we go. So now we have these heads here. Now, if you notice, they're a little lopsided, where there's more of a gap on this side. So basically, this will be your safe half of the room. You're going to want to DPS one of these down to create yourself a safe zone, while these beams will then go across the room here. And then following that, again, pick up all these big ads now. And these smaller ads will then become active about a second or two later. So focus on grabbing the big ads, and then be prepared to, again, grab all those small ads. Now, the small ads, the health on those falls pretty quickly. And then these next ones here are not too far behind. And of course, as we get them all down, you will then see, of course, a new mechanic. So we now have one giant head right here who basically casts this endless nightmare ability. Now, the whole goal is basically just to kill him before this finishes, but you will have to deal with one other mechanic here. You'll see that there's 4 heads tethered over there, and they will be reaching one skull. Now, once they reach that one skull, you'll see them grow into a big skull and cause an AoE around the room. So simply just avoid that AoE and then finish off the boss. Simple as that. Now that we've reached the second boss here, you'll notice that it is still Beatrice, the same boss as the first one, but we didn't actually kill her in the first one. We just simply fought all of her ads. So now we actually get the opportunity to fight this boss and see all of her mechanics. So let's go ahead and start off with the pull here. Now, the biggest thing with Beatrice here is there will be a lot of look away mechanics, but they'll be a little bit different than what you're used to with most look away mechanics. So here she just casted Eye. Now basically you can look at these until they eventually reach her. Now, not all of the eyes will simply just go to her. Some of them will just sort of collapse on each other out in the battlefield. So pay attention to that. Now here you see her throwing some lines on the ground. They will explode basically in the order that they were summoned in. And they do sort of like that semicircle there. So you can basically move, you know, a little bit to one side or the other of that line, that fourth one there, and be safe. And we'll get to see these again so I can sort of explain what I'm talking about. Here we have a nice little tank hit. Just throw like a nice little 20% or something. You'd probably be good. Here we go. Boss is once again moving, doing a conal attack with a spread mechanic. So definitely be sure to spread out. Leave your friends some room there, range. Maybe get to the back. Leave melee some chances to get up there. Here she's casting another eye ability. Now this one, like I said earlier, some of the eyes will not collapse just on the boss. Some of them will be out in the room. So you'll see this one collapsing on the boss first. So we're going to look away. But at the same time, you're going to see these ones that just sort of popped out into the random parts of the room. So lots of things to pay attention to. And you again have that limited space around the boss. So, you know, if you have to stop DPSing just to make sure you don't get hit by that, by all means, go for it. Here we have a nice little stack mechanic. Same time, she's summoning these lines again on the ground. And if you remember, they will explode in the order that she put them in. So as long as I'm on this line, basically, you can be a little bit one way or the other, and you'll still be safe. But other than the eyeballs and the line mechanics, there's really not much else to this boss. Fairly straightforward, you know, simple tank hits, group stacks, etc. Nothing major. Just gonna go ahead and finish her off here. And that was the second boss. Easy does it. And now we're at the final boss of the dungeon, which does require quite a bit of movement. And you'll notice that some of the outside of the room here has walls and some of it is blank. So take note in that, because that will be an important mechanic later on in the fight. So let's start off with the pull. And like I said, there's definitely times in this fight where you'll be maybe a little rushed on movement. So just be aware of that and pay attention to some of these mechanics coming up here. So first hit there was an AoE, which also applied a bleed. So healers, definitely a good bit of healing at the beginning of the fight. Now here you'll notice that they are starting to spawn some circles, as well as circles around players. So everything will sort of explode as it came out. So we laid 2 circles on the ground first, and then the players. So we took our hit third there, followed by that last set. The debuff that you get, you can have 2 people stacked on each other, but as long as you don't have 3, you'll be okay. Now you'll notice that knockback there. She did destroy some of the walls that I took note of earlier, and that caused me to get pushed back basically into the emptiness, which you will then take a toxic debuff for. You'll also see her casting a beam on one portion of the ground, which she will then leap to, cause a big AoE, and promptly right after that, this is that fast mobility. You need to basically run to that location that she just exploded, because she will then sword swipe that part of the room. So again, we'll get to see all these mechanics happen again here in a second. So just going to deal with this small tank hit right here. Even with a 20, it does chunk pretty good. So tanks, definitely be aware of that. If you're low going into that, or maybe you took a vuln, definitely pay attention to that, and maybe use some extra mitigation if you need to. Now here the boss will start to cast I guess a power channel, or however you want to call that, summon some adds, and essentially just like most other fights, you just need to knock down all these adds before that that channel reaches 100%, while still dodging some of the other AoEs on the ground. Have a nice little party stack here while we're still killing these adds. It is very lenient on time. You should easily be able to knock these out. So spamming some more buttons here. There's that. Now we spread. And with that, all the ads here are dead. Now, after you finish off those ads, the boss is basically going to run around the room, hit everyone with a bunch of AoEs here. So ideally, you want to stack up in the center of the group, spam some AoE heals, maybe throw a mitigation if you have something, not obviously like a targeted one like Reprisal or something, but some mitigation there would help. So here we go. The boss is doing this rampage again. We saw 2 sets of circles spawn, followed by the ones on the party. So that means the party will get hit third. So there's 1, there's number 2, there was 3, and that last one right there. Now, obviously, I moved a little early, so I did take a vuln. Here we have this knockback, which I need to pay attention. There's a wall right there, although I slid off of it. So definitely make sure that you are in the center of that wall. Go ahead and help heal myself back up here. I do have a vuln, so that's something to pay attention to. Looks like your sword is coming back out again, leaping into the air. There's a beam going there, so we need to, again, run away from that side of the room. And then immediately get over there as fast as we can, because she will then cleave the other side of the room. So there, overall, you saw all of the mechanics, the repercussions of failing on some of those mechanics, and overall, actually not a bad dungeon. I'm actually really impressed with this, and I'm actually not unhappy to have this as an expert, possibly. So, well, good luck everyone with your new dungeon, and enjoy the rest of your new content. Take care.